Good evening, Hawks fans, and welcome back to the Atlanta Sports District. I'm your host, Russell Spence, coming to you the morning after a 117-95 loss to the Houston Rockets. Before we begin talking about the game, I would like to explain kind of what's going on and some programming information here on the podcast. So, I have been moved to the night shift in my day job. So I can still watch the games. It is easy for me to still, know what's happening and watch the what unfolds, but it does make it pretty impossible to record the podcast the night of. So if it is at all possible, after I get off work, I will record the podcast and post it the morning after the game is over. If I cannot do that, if there's some unforeseen circumstances and that's not possible, then the old man will record a podcast and post his thoughts instead of mine. I appreciate all the wonderful comments and things when my old man does get to do the podcast, and it is very helpful to have him around to be able to do that. But I also like to have my thoughts put out there, and so as much as I can, I will do the podcast. So now moving to the game. I am going to do my best to be productive and to be positive when talking about tonight's game. It was very bad. We did not play well. But we did just win 11 games in a row and drastically improve our place in terms of the standings. So I'm hoping that we will continue to be in good form, and this will not be the new Atlanta Hawks that we see moving forward. Offensively, I thought we were pitiful. I mean, only scoring 95 points. Your best player having 14 on 12 shots. It was pretty rough. We had a couple of bright spots, and we'll talk about those, but it was a rough game, especially offensively, but also defensively. Houston is a team that traditionally likes to slow the game down, yet they still were able to beat us in fast break points, in points off turnovers, in pretty much every statistic you can think of in terms of pace. They were more effective than we were, while they were still also keeping the game at a slower pace. So that is quite unacceptable. In terms of a team that is uh, generally looking to run, you cannot allow that to happen. They beat us in every way, and it was very bad. If I move to the 5 pillars that I've been talking about, those 5 pillars of success, we're going to start with shooting percentage, because that's the one that has the highest variance. Tonight we were awful from the floor, awful from two. We shot a total of 42% from the field. They shot 51. We shot 26% from three, and they shot 47. When that happens, it's going to be really hard to win. You have to make shots. It's the NBA. Got to make shots. And we didn't tonight, and that made the hole we dug ourselves very deep. And alas, we were unable to dig ourselves out of that hole. As I said, we were also bad at the rim, and they were quite good at the rim. And that's the second pillar, right? Of rim creation and rim prevention wrapped into one category. We were bad at both. And we'll talk about a little bit of why later on, especially on the rim prevention side. Moving on, free throw creation is another one of those pillars. We only had 17 total free throws. Now, some of that was the refereeing in the first half was atrocious. We had multiple times where we had very easy spottable fouls that were not called, and they were giving pretty much everything to the Houston Rockets. And it's so much so that they gave a foul to Kevin Durant when the distance between him and Nickeil Alexander-Walker was at least a foot, where no one touched him at all, and he got 2 free throws out of it. Just ridiculousness. It was very bad from the officials, and they had 28. Again, we had 17 free throws created. They had 28 free throws created. That's a big discrepancy. Next is rebounding. In terms of rebounding, we were destroyed. They had 51, we had 37. They're again a team that is very good at rebounding. They have been for multiple years, but they are without their best offensive and defensive rebounder for the season in Steven Adams, yet they still destroyed us on the glass. They had 12 offensive rebounds to our 9, and that's something we've been doing very well as of late, is getting offensive rebounds and kind of humbling teams in that way, and that did not happen tonight. So you look and you say, okay, we lost shooting. We lost the free throw battle. We lost at the rim, and we lost in the rebounding battle. Did we at least win the creation statistics, assists and turnovers created? No, we did not. We had 22 assists to their 33. We got pummeled in that statistic as well. Also, they created 20 total turnovers to our 18. So, legitimately, they beat us in every way. They beat us like a drum, and they did it all night long. When that happens, your offense is going to be pretty bad, and your defense is going to be pretty bad, and you're going to get beat by a large sum of points. The effort was not there tonight from a lot of players. And there were also coaching decisions that I've been talking about during our winning streak, saying, when we do this against a better team, we will lose. And that's what happened. So, moving to the player by player section. Unfortunately, we got some Caleb Houston, Keaton Wallace, and Buddy Hield minutes. Usually that's a good thing. Not tonight. Gabe Vincent, we'll talk about next, he had 17 minutes. He had 6 points on 2 of 7 shooting, 0 of 4 from 3. He had 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and he finished -7. Again, their backup point guard's Aaron Holiday. I don't really see a reason to play Gabe if their backup point guard is Aaron Holiday. He is needed when we are playing a team that has drastically wonderful backup guards. He is not needed when we are not. So that was, I thought he played way too much. I didn't think he was good, and alas, we had a pretty pitiful showing with him on the floor. Moving on, we're going to talk about Corey Kispert. So Corey played 18 minutes. He had 2 points on 1 of 6 shooting, 0 of 5 from 3, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 fouls. He had a steal and was +2. As I said, now he did not shoot the ball well, but they have more size. They have more need. We have more need against them and their size for a bigger player than Gabe Vincent. I thought we could have used more minutes to Corey Kispert and more minutes to Zach. We'll get to that in a second, but I thought that Corey was very good defensively, and I think that if he could have attacked the rim a bit better and a bit more, his 3-point shot wasn't going down tonight. I talk about a good bit here on the podcast. If your 3-pointer's not going down, find a way to score some 2s. I think if he had played some more, that would have happened, and things would have been a little bit better for the team. Next, we're going to talk about Mo Gay. So Mo played 18 minutes. He had no points on 0 of 2 shooting, 0 of 1 from 3. He had 2 rebounds, no assists. He had a steal and a block, and finished -17. Now, the -17 there is not on Mohamed Gay. And the reason why is because Mohamed Gay played the majority of his 17 minutes with the same person who also finished -18 in Jock Landale. The Landale, McCollum, and Kispert lineup got demolished tonight. And it gets demolished every single night. And we refuse to not play it. Find a way to make sure that those 3 players are never on the floor together. It does not make sense to me to go through and have those three players on the floor when you have a roster that only has three negative players on defense, defensively negative players. You should not be playing them together. It does not make sense. Stop doing it. That's all I have to say. Mohamed Gay was very good defensively tonight. They don't really throw him the ball on offense. When he touches it, the ball moves better. Just incorporate him more. I don't understand that. But I felt so bad for his plus minus. And you could see on his face, he was like, what am I supposed to do? They're getting free run to the rim over and over and over again. And he's like, I block it or I affect the shot, and sometimes I get a foul called on me, and sometimes I don't. Doesn't matter. I'm guarding Kevin Bloom and Durant, and I'm also having to deal with Amin Thompson running to the rim and nobody guarding him. And it was just, I felt so bad for him. Moving on, we're going to talk about Jock Landale. So Jock played 20 minutes. That's too many for how bad he was playing. He had 6 points on 3 of 9 shooting, 0 of 2 from 3. He had 1 rebound and 3 assists. He finished with 2 steals and 2 blocks. And you would look at that and go, he must have played great defense. Dude was minus 11, or minus 18. Minus 18. That's how bad his defense was. They were going through the paint like water through a sieve. Quite easily. Honestly, they were going through the paint like water through a cheese grater. That's how big of a problem the guarding of the rim by our backup center was. And we're not done talking about guarding the rim. Moving on, we're going to talk about Zachary Richese. Zach was the only bright spot, I thought, from tonight's game, like a true bright spot. Zach played 19 minutes. He had 16 points on 6 of 8 shooting, 3 of 3 from 3. He had 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, a block, and finished a net 0. Now, when the rest of the team has the plus minuses that they had, which they were ugly tonight, to be a net 0 means you played fantastic. Zach was the best Atlanta Hawk tonight. That is something I haven't gotten to say in a while, and I'm very happy to say it. He played so well. And that encourages me a ton because I keep talking about it. He's doing the right things. The ball's just not, at times it's not going in. If the ball starts going in for him, he's going to turn the talk about him around very quickly because he's doing a lot of the right things. Moving on, we're going to talk about Onyeka Okongwu. Onyeka played 24 minutes. He had 6 points on 2 of 9 shooting, 1 of 4 from 3, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, no turnovers, had a steal and 2 blocks, and finished minus 7. Onyeka had his 2 blocks in about a 1-minute span, and the rest of the time, again, they were berating the rim, and we were not stopping them in any way. Now, he wasn't the most egregious. Jock was worse, and another player we're about to talk about was worse. But he was still part of the problem. I have talked about it. There are certain limitations to having a center that is as short as Onyeka Okongwu. And it makes things a struggle. But he was not the most egregious defender tonight. He was quite bad offensively. And I think that the way they were able to play him, putting like Jabari Smith on him, putting Tari Eason on him, really gave him trouble. And again, they put Alperen Sengun on Dyson most of the time. And that has given us some offensive issues as well. Moving on, we're going to talk about Dyson Daniels. So Dyson played 25 minutes. He had 3 points on 1 of 5 shooting, 0 of 0 from 3. He had 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, 2 steals, and finished minus 14. The starting lineup got beat to death. Dyson was tasked with guarding Kevin Durant, and it did not go well. I think that was a poor decision. I think that you're going to have to start really making decisions around Dyson's height. If he's that out-heighted, there's not really much he could do. The technique is there. He's in the right place. He's doing the right things. And then Kevin Durant shoots over a chair and the ball goes in. He's just a little too short for players that size. Now, less skilled players that are that size, like Giannis, he does a very good job guarding. But players that are that skilled and that big, you just can't have a guy that short on. And so you hope that like Jalen's defensive technique gets better. Or maybe Onyeka could guard a guy like that. Or maybe if not, then you're going to have to play Moget a significant amount because he was doing quite a good job on KD. No one else was. And that really hurt Dyson's overall production tonight. Moving on, we're going to talk about CJ McCollum. So CJ played 25 minutes. He had 17 points on 7-11, shooting 2 of 5 from 3. He had 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 turnovers, 1 steal, 3 blocks, and finished minus 15. I honestly thought that CJ was not a huge problem tonight. I know the plus minus does not look good, but I thought that was, again, a product of the players around him not playing well. I thought CJ actually was quite good tonight. Was one of the only quite good players. We're going to talk about the next one right now, and that is Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So Nah played 27 minutes. He had 21 points on 6 of 11 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3, 8 of 9 from the free throw line. Again, he's been pretty good at creating free throws all year. He had 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 turnovers, 1 steal, and finished minus 14. Nah played well. Defensively, he was very good. The offense was he made some shots. He got to the free throw line a lot, which was very helpful. I thought again he was a product. His on-court production in terms of plus minus and us winning was a product of the players he was playing with just not playing very well tonight. And that will happen, but I don't think that was I don't think it's indicative of the way that Nah played in terms of his plus minus. And lastly, we're going to talk about Jalen Johnson. So Jalen played 32 minutes. He had 14 points on 6 of 12 shooting, 2 of 6 from 3, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 turnovers, 1 steal, and finished a by far game worst, minus 27. There were a few huge problems with Jalen's game tonight, the first of which being his defense. He was pitiful defensively, completely and totally discombobulated, not paying attention, not guarding the rim, not guarding his man, getting beat on back cuts, couldn't stop KD to save his life. Defensively, he was horrible. One of the worst defensive games of his career so far. Very, very bad defensively. And then offensively, he goes through these times where he refuses to be aggressive. And I look and I say, Jalen, you're Jalen Johnson. Go to the rim. They have the worst rim protector in the NBA in Alperen Sengun on their team. When he went to the rim, he feasted. And he would not do it. He got multiple times switched on to Reed Shepherd. And he didn't go to the rim. I'm like, that dude's 5'10". I'm taller than that guy. Go to the rim. I don't understand. And he seems to refuse to understand whom he is and what he can do physically. If he went to the rim like Giannis, he would score so many points. But he refuses to do that. And I don't know if it's a conditioning thing. I don't know if he's hurting and doesn't want to get hit like that. But for some reason, he will not go to the rim. And we desperately, desperately need him to. So, those are my things. Stop playing that absolutely insanely bad defensive lineup when you have the capability to avoid playing it. Stop refusing to go to the rim in terms of our players that are big and strong. Please fix some of these problem areas. Shoot a better percentage. Get to the free throw line more. That'll help if, our big strong players are going to the rim. Get more rebounds. Get more offensive rebounds. Fight for those rebounds better. And mostly, let's just have a much better showing tomorrow. So, that brings us to our next point. Moving forward, we have a back-to-back against the Golden State Warriors tonight starting at 8 p.m. They've been struggling. They are very not healthy. That is a game we should win, and I hope that we will. I hope this was a one-off kind of performance. That's my main takeaway. I just hope this was a really bad game, not very smartly coached, not very smartly ran, and I just I'm hoping that we can return to the form that we were having those last two games of the winning streak, where it was really, really good stuff happening on the floor. I think we got a little bit complacent and we played very sloppy tonight in pretty much every regard that leads to winning. So, with that being said, let me know your thoughts. Do you think this is a sign of things to come or just a one off game that we're going to recover from and beat the brakes off the Golden State Warriors tonight? I hope that is the thing that actually happens, but obviously, I don't know. I can't tell the future. Let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, and subscribe here on the podcast. Every subscription helps. Tell a friend about the podcast. Hit me up on all the socials. I post the game everywhere every night. And also, I respond to comments and all sorts of thoughts and perspectives from everybody. I'm really happy to get into the discourse of everything that's happening. I really hope that we were able to turn things around tonight. And above everything else, I hope you have a great day.